We're live, y'all. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Greetings. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Welcome. Welcome, beautiful women. We're live. I was gonna do a quick little video, and then something was like, no, you should actually do a live about this topic because I see this sort of going around a lot, and I'm here to let you guys know, as a woman who's been married for 20 years and has put a lot of work and effort into the marriage and understands what marriage is really about. I'm here to tell you that you're going to have to drop kick your fantasy about a dream husband or a dream wife. It is a creation in your own mind. It's a fantasy. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Marriage is real. Your fantasy is not real. And I meet women all the time that have either not seen great marriages growing up or have not seen couples really put work into a marriage to make it what it is, or they haven't even met couples that have been married for a very long time that have happy marriages. And so they don't even know the amount of work that is required that couple put into that marriage to get to that level of love and satisfaction and fulfillment. And I'm here to tell you that marriage is work. I'm here to tell you that we're all flawed human beings. We're very flawed human beings. We have come from different childhood experiences, different families, different value systems set up by our families, different belief systems. We've all had different experiences, and all those different experiences have made us who we are as adults. And if you are getting into this fantasy in your head about this perfect human being that's going to be this perfect human being just for you, then you're going to be disappointed in marriage. Walaikum assalam, beautiful women. And one thing that I tell women all over the world is that marriage will literally shine a light on your daddy wounds, your mommy wounds, your insecurities, your triggers, and we'll do the same thing in your partner. And I believe we subconsciously choose our partners because they sort of feel like our parents in some regard, and that we're really trying to work out the issues with our parents in our relationships. I'm kind of starting to understand that. And I'm here to tell you that you will attract people that really feel like your parents, either your mother or your father. And I think that the wounds are coming to the surface so that you guys can work on these wounds in the marriage. I've been very honest with my followers that I've had marriage counseling. We've done a lot of work in our marriage. We've been through ups and downs in our marriage. We're not perfect. He's not perfect. I'm not perfect. But I say this all the time, the foundation of the marriage, if it's a foundation built on love and respect, you can work on anything. But that human being that you're going to be partnered with is a human being. He's never going to be perfect. He's never going to fit your fantasy in your head of how he's supposed to behave, how he's supposed to look, how he's supposed to think. You guys will even think differently. You will literally be thinking differently. And marriage requires a lot of open, honest communication so you can understand your partner. And so they can understand how you think, and you can understand how they think, and you can sort of come to some mutual understanding about how you want to live, about where you want to live, about how you want to raise your children, about the goals that you have in your marriage, in your life. It will force you to develop mutual understanding. And this is why I always say, make sure the foundation is love and respect, because if that man loves and respects you, he will always want to see your point of view. He will value your point of view. He will value your opinions. He will do the best that he can to make sure that you feel safe and supported and loved and valued and respected in the marriage, right? But you have to come into the marriage as a woman feeling that way about yourself first. And being honest about who you are, being honest about what you want, being honest about your values, being honest about what's important to you, being honest about what your goals are. But you can't expect the other person to read your mind, to think the way you think, to look at life the way you do, right? It's just a fantasy. It's a fantasy. And I think we watch a lot of TV growing up and a lot of movies, and we get this idea that like, oh, it's just all perfect. My Prince Charming is coming to rescue me. He's coming to get me. He's coming to save me. And I think like that's where it starts with people being disillusioned because they really are. Walaikum assalam, beautiful women. Walaikum assalam, greetings as you guys are coming in. They are disillusioned because they've been fed a fantasy about what marriage is. And I think marriage is really there to grow you. I really think it's there to grow you and to heal you and to help your partner to heal and grow as well. And if you guys are growing together, if you guys can work through the challenges and the difficulties and raising children and all that which is a part of marriage, if you guys can work through all of that, you will get to the other side where it will start to get easier. In the beginning, it's really hard because you're really getting to understand how this person is, how they think. Yes, I've been married for guys, so you guys are new to me. I've been married for 20 years. I'm a marriage mindset coach. I help women all over the world, Muslim women all over the world, to really work on themselves even before they get married. Because my goal, like, I feel like you need to do work on yourself before you get married. You need to really love, honor, and respect and value yourself before you get married. And I believe that that would be an energy inside of you that then you would attract that in someone else. So I'm all about, let's work on ourselves before we get married. Let's, kick the fantasy that marriage is going to be easy or that this person is, I'm perfect and they're perfect. It's a fantasy. But I do believe that if you're healthy and you love yourself and you value yourself and you respect yourself, that you will make the right choice when it comes to a partner. Okay. So do you guys, I'm here to answer questions. I answer questions around marriage, love, courtship. If you guys have questions, put your questions in the chat and I will answer your questions. What are some of the problems or differences that are okay in marriages and what aren't okay? So what is not okay is abuse of any kind. Verbal abuse, physical abuse, spiritual abuse, any abuse of any kind to me is a deal breaker. That's a no. If this man genuinely loves and respects you, then you can work on problems and differences. You may not always see eye to eye. Like, you will sometimes have to agree to disagree because this person is not you. And if you think your partner is going to be an exact mirror of you, then you're like I said, we got to drop kick these fantasies. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy, right? Even your friends are not exactly like you. Even your siblings who you were raised in the same house with, sometimes your siblings are nothing like you, right? So imagine someone who wasn't raised in the same house as you, who wasn't raised by the same rules and parents. Imagine building a life with that person, right? But as long as it's not abuse, as long as they respect you, right, and they have a healthy, sense of self within themselves, they have good self-esteem, you have good self-esteem, then I feel like you can work on anything in a marriage, okay? If you guys have questions, yes, we're all about courtship, marriage. I really specialize in working with women before marriage, before they get married, because I feel like sometimes they're not making the right choices or they're not looking for the right things in a partner. And then they get into a marriage with this person and then they have children. And then sometimes they feel stuck in marriage. They feel like, I don't want to leave because of the children or the family or sometimes finances. And so I really want to help women make the right choices even before they choose a brother. And remember, you guys always have choice. You get to decide. You get to have the courtship period be as long or as short as you want it to be. You get to meet their family. You get to ask questions. You get to look at their behaviors, right? You get to do all of these things before you get married. And most of all, you get to pray about it. You get to make istikhara. You get to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you make the right decisions. You get to work on yourself first to make sure you love, value, and respect yourself. Remember, that's the work that you have to do in yourself because you really cannot change another human being. You're not here to change another human being. You're only here to grow yourself. Okay. If you guys have questions, put your questions in the chat. I'm here. I'll be here I usually do these for about an hour. And I always upload them to my YouTube, the recordings to my YouTube and here to TikTok. So if you're not a subscriber on my TikTok channel or follow, if you're not a follower, you can follow me. And then also you can watch all of my content as well on my YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. So you're focusing on yourself right now. Yes, I think that's important that before you get married, you know who you are and you know what you want out of your life, right? I didn't get married. I got married later. I got married at 29 and I was, had my education, was working, kind of knew who I was, knew what I wanted, was doing a lot of work on myself, had a therapist, was always working on myself to make sure that I was in the right mindset, that I had the right sense of self-worth and value so I could choose the right person. Okay. And we've still done work on our marriage and we continue. That's the thing about marriage. It's like the work continues as sometimes things happen in life that you don't plan for. When children come into the mix, there's a different dynamic in your marriage. So marriage is always evolving and changing. And so it just, like I said, with a healthy sense of love and respect in the marriage as a foundation, you can work on anything. So, okay, let's see. Oh, you're so glad you met me. Alhamdulillah. Good. I'm so glad that you've changed your mindset and perspective on marriage. I think that you want to definitely go into marriage with the right mindset because I hear a lot of women that have negative views about men or don't even really like men, to be honest. Maybe they haven't been exposed to really good men. And so they have this idea that all men are a certain way. Or men have the idea that all women are a certain way, and we are all complex individuals. I want y'all to get out of that mindset that all people are a certain way. We are so individual. Everybody is so individual based upon their childhoods, based upon, their experiences, based upon what they want out of their lives. We're all very different. And that's the interesting thing about marriage. It's like, you guys are not going to be the same person ever, 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 ever. And if you think you're going to find someone who's just like you and it's perfect for you, like I said, it's a fantasy. You're going to have to drop kick that fantasy and understand that you're going to have to work together to make a marriage healthy and loving and respectful. It requires work and effort on both sides, right? On both ends. Let's see. Okay. I'm just going through your chat. Oh, you're funny. I'm not Gambian, but my husband is. I'm American. I'm African American, but my husband is Gambian. So hence the name. That's why my name is. But I've traveled to Gambia once and it was beautiful. And my husband's family is Gambian, so I've learned a lot about the culture and the food and they're very loving, beautiful, warm people. Alhamdulillah. You feel more secure in yourself. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that with or without a man, with or without a marriage, you're fulfilled in your own life. Because marriage is not here to complete you. Marriage is not here to make you happy. Like, you literally have to find that within yourself. You have to find that in your own life, right? So that regardless of what happens with the marriage or regardless what happens with that man, you are stable and secure in yourself. And what I tell Muslim women is, more than anything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should always be your focus. That's your focus, getting closer to him. Then you can deal with anything that comes at you in this life. You'll be able to deal with anything. I promise you. Let's see. Okay. If you guys have questions, you guys are kind of quiet today. I don't see any questions. Wa alaikum assalam, beautiful women. Wa alaikum assalam. I don't see any questions, guys. I'm here to answer your questions or comments. I was just talking about how I think a lot of people have a fantasy. They live in a fantasy when it comes to relationships and marriage, and they think it's going to be perfect, and this person's going to be perfect. Or I see the other side, the extreme, where they think marriage is horrible, or they think men are horrible, or they think they're never going to find a good partner, or they think, and they don't really understand that their partner is a reflection of them. And they do a lot of blaming, and they're not looking inside of themselves to see how they created this situation or how they accepted the situation in marriage. So they're playing the blame game and being like, oh, it's their fault, it's their fault, it's their fault, and they're not looking at themselves. And I believe when you start taking accountability for how your life looks, is how you change it. Did y'all know that? When you start taking accountability for how your life looks, for how your marriage looks, for how your any situation in life looks, when you can see how you contributed to it and you take accountability for your part that you played in it, that's when you change. That's when things change. Let's see. Is it possible to get a husband outside of Nigeria? I don't know, because I don't live in Nigeria, and I typically, like, I don't even really, for matchmaking services, I would only work with clients in the US, right? That live in the US and are looking for people that live in the US. So I'm not sure about outside of the country. I think that's a hard thing, because a lot of, especially nowadays with what y'all know what's going on with immigration in America, it is not an easy process to even get a spousal visa, go through the whole process of, like, marrying someone internationally and then bringing them here. And so a lot of Americans are not necessarily looking for people overseas just because of that reason, because of the way our immigration system is going right now. Let's see. Okay, we have some questions. How do I find balance on waiting for what you want and not lowering your standards? I think you have to look at your standards and ask yourself, how important are these standards to me? Right? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, whatever your standards are these standards flexible, or am I not willing to compromise? And it depends on what the standard is, right? Like, for me personally, like, when I got married, I didn't want to marry someone that had children because I didn't have children. So that was a standard for me that was like a non-negotiable. Some standards are more flexible, right? So it just depends on what the standard is and if you're willing to compromise, right? I personally had standards, still have standards in my life, and some of them are flexible and some aren't, right? And you will know that because we're all individuals. So when you meet someone, they may not 100% fit into the fantasy that you had in your head, right? Like, when I met my husband, I didn't think I was going to be married to an African. Like, that never entered my brain. Like, I never saw myself. I thought I'd be married to an American, like African American, like me, right? And then he came into my life, and he was what I was looking for as far as the other standards I had for myself. So that particular thing I could throw out the window, right? So we're all individuals. So I think it just depends on how important the standard is to you. Are you flexible? Are you not? And only you can really answer that question, because you'll know. There are things that will be very important to you, right? That he's kind, he's a good person, he's financially stable. Like, for me, like, certain standards, like, he prays 5 times a day. Like, I'm not willing to compromise on that. That's not a flexible standard. That's a standard that's like, if he doesn't pray 5 times a day, that's like, for me personally, that's like a deal breaker. But again, these are personal things. Yes, this is being live. This is a live, but I'm recording it, and I always put the recordings. If you guys miss any of these, all of my content is here on TikTok and then on YouTube. So I post everything. Everything is on both ends, okay? Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think we all have to we just got to know ourselves. That's the other thing that I find when people marry really young, is they don't know themselves well enough to make those sort of decisions around what are important standards for me, what do I really want out of my life, what am I really looking for? Like, at 20, you don't even know who you are at 20, So I think, not saying you shouldn't get married at 20, because I would never say that, but I just think you really need to make sure that you know yourself very well, and you know what you want out of your life before you get married, right? And you're not in your mind creating this fantasy about what marriage is. Because a lot of us have fantasies about what it looks like, what it is, who the person's going to be. This is what this topic is about. It's like, drop kick the fantasy. Like, it's real. Like, this is real life. Like, with everything. Like, when you start a business, when I started my business, like, I didn't have a fantasy about, it's going to be 100%, every day is going to be so great and so perfect. I'm going to make money every day. Like, that's a fantasy. So you have to live in the real world when it comes to relationships, and when it comes to business, and when it comes to raising children, right? Every day is not Every day's not perfect. Sometimes your kids will drive you nuts. Sometimes you'll be mad at your children. Sometimes you'll be like, why don't they just do what I tell them to do? Or sometimes it will disappoint you. Like we're all human. We're all flawed, right? That's real life, right? And also giving grace to each other is important too. And compromising and trying to understand the other person's perspective, trying to understand the reasons behind why they are the way they are, learning about their childhood, learning about their parents, learning about how they were raised. Like that will tell you, oh, this is why they think the way they do, or this is why they act the way they do, right? And even if you see some things early and you're like, I really think that's going to be a problem in our marriage, asking the brother, like, are you open to premarital counseling? Because I've seen some things that I'm a little unsure about, or I think maybe you need some help around, or maybe I've seen things in me that I'm like, oh, I think we need to work on this in premarital counseling. You know, how many Muslims actually get premarital counseling? I don't really meet a lot of couples that have gotten premarital counseling. So I think we need to really start just being more realistic about creating a healthy marriage, building a healthy marriage, building a family. What does that mean? What does it look like, right? Okay. If you guys have questions, put your questions in the chat. I don't see any questions. You guys are pretty quiet today. You guys are pretty, and I'm not going to stay on here just to stare at the screen. Like, I'm actually on here for you guys. So if you guys, this is from a woman, again, who's been married for 20 years. I've done a lot of work on myself. We've done a lot of work in the marriage. We have 2 children. We've, learned about all the ups and downs of parenthood, still learning as my kids are going into they're 12 and 15. So they're in the teenage phase, and even they're changing, even their needs are changing. Even how I speak to them is changing. Even, they're creating their own lives now and things they want to do. And so family life is changing, like family life changes, everything changes, as you're building and growing a family and as you're married longer, right? What are some things to avoid in marriage? Like things not to do to create a happy relationship? I would say things to avoid while you're in marriage is being disrespectful to each other. I would say that creates wounding in marriage when you are not trying to see the other person's perspective. If you have a disagreement, it's learning how to communicate that you disagree in a healthy way, and learning how to try to see the other person's perspective, and them learning how to try to see your perspective, and then trying to compromise. How do we work this out? How do we compromise? How do we make sure that, my needs are met, his needs are met? And that's the constant work in marriage. It's like that work never ends. Right? How do I make sure my needs are met, and how do I make sure that his needs are met? And I really believe that if you guys can sit down and talk about things and talk about anything, you have to really be able to communicate. You really do. And you have to be able to be honest with the other person about, what you don't like, what you do like, what you need, those sort of things. Let's see. How do you navigate trust issues and being defensive? Yeah. So trust issues, the question for you, Safa, is it trust issues? Do you distrust him because of something he's done? Or is it trust issues because of other relationships you've seen where the spouses didn't trust each other? Like, where are the trust issues coming from? And usually when you're defensive, there's a reason why you're defensive. So is it because you feel that he's not listening to you, he's not respectful? Like what's creating the trust and defense issues, right? Because that is normal and natural if he's giving you reasons not to trust him, right? Oh, from past relationships, yeah, that's hard, because that's the other thing. Like, if you've been divorced or in previous relationships, you're also bringing that energy into your current relationship. And you have to remember that, let's see, you have to remember that this is a new person that didn't hurt you or didn't do anything to you. And you have to try to give the new relationship, give the new person the benefit of the doubt. Give them the benefit of the doubt until they prove otherwise. And that's how I live. I'm a very trusting person unless you give me a reason not to trust you. Because I believe every human being deserves that. If he hasn't done anything to me, he doesn't deserve me distrusting him. Right? So be open. That's what I always say, like open heart, You guys, I say that a lot. Like, you have to have an open heart to love. An open heart means I'm not holding on to wounding from the past. And even you, Safa, can go get coaching or therapy around the past if you feel that my heart is not fully open because I'm holding on to some wounding from the past. Holding on to it, you're right, you're going to be defensive with your current husband, and it's going to create disconnection from each other. You're going to be disconnected. And the longer you stay disconnected from your partner, that leads to separation, which leads to divorce. So I would suggest you definitely get some counseling or coaching to help you to release what still hurts in your heart. Because distrust and defensiveness means I'm still hurting in some way. I'm still wounded in some way. And now I'm taking out this hurt and distrust on my partner. And that's not fair. Yeah, resentment is huge. I feel like resentment is like the number one killer of marriage. It's like you're holding on to something they did. And the only way you can really heal resentment is to really have honest conversations with your husband about what's causing the resentment. This is hard, y'all. I know having honest conversations in marriage is really hard sometimes, but it's the only way you fix it. Even if you go to a marriage counselor, like say you guys do marriage counseling, the one thing that marriage counselors will do with you is they will have you guys be honest with each other. And sometimes in ways you probably have never been. But the honesty is required to tell each other what hurts. That's how you heal wounds and hurt, is to tell each other, when you did this, that hurt. And then to have them acknowledge it and to have them sit with it and be like, dang, like I didn't really understand how that hurt you so deeply, or that you were still holding on to that. Because sometimes, the men don't even know. Sometimes we're not honest with our husbands and they don't even know something. It may not even be that big, or something that they continue to do really hurt. And then we're holding on to the resentment. And then we wonder why I don't feel close to him, or I don't feel connected to him, or I feel emotionally distant. It's because you haven't processed what hurts. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it by yourself, saying, babe, we need to sit down and talk about this. I'm carrying resentment around because of A, B, C, and D. Even maybe write a list, T, before you have the conversation to help you. One thing we did in marriage counseling was the counselor had us write down a list of how we wanted to be treated in the marriage, how we wanted to treat each other. And then we wrote a list, he wrote a list, I wrote a list, and then we kept revisiting the list. We kept revisiting it to make sure, are we on the same page? Having the healthy dialogue in marriage is the work. It's the work, y'all. It really is. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Maria. If he doesn't want to listen to you and he's not trying to make things better, that's a sign for you that he is not really emotionally invested anymore. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes couples don't want to do the work, and that's what leads to divorce. They're like, I'm just not that emotionally invested anymore, or I don't care that deeply. And that's what they're telling you. Anyone that you're pouring your heart out to and telling, even if it's a friend, anybody you're pouring your heart out to and saying, listen, this is what the issues I have with you, this is what hurts me. They don't want to listen, or they don't care. That's telling you how they really feel. And it's hard, I know, y'all, but you need to know that. And then you need to figure out what do I want to do with this? Now that I know this person is no longer emotionally invested in this, what do I want to do with this? And only you can decide that, okay? But yeah, you're right, you can't make anybody change, and you can't make them listen. And you can't make them go to marriage counseling, and you can't make them go to therapy, and you can't make them work on themselves. You can only work on yourself. What I tell women is, if you're with someone and you feel that they're not emotionally invested in you and that they don't want to do the work to make things better in the relationship, you go get help. Because what will happen is, as you are building your own sense of self-worth and value through doing the inner work, as you're building yourself up, it'll blow your mind. You'll develop the courage to be honest with them and then to leave. And that happens a lot. A lot of women will say, I tried with him. He's not listening. He's just doing what he wants to do, whatever. I'm going to go get my help. And then over time, as they're working with a coach or a therapist and they're doing the inner work, they feel healthy enough and strong enough to leave. Or the other person leaves. It's crazy how it works. It's almost like they're no longer a match to you. And then things just dissipate. So I always say you can't change any woman. You can only change yourself. Okay? Let's see. What are you guys saying? If he's resentful too. Yeah, if he's resentful T, then you guys need to both come together and be honest. Have an honest conversation about what is causing the resentment. Right? Because in marriage, you will hurt each other sometimes. It's just like any relationship, y'all. It's like your family. It's like your friends. It's like your cousins. It's like, you're going to hurt each other sometimes because you're human. You're going to do things sometimes that the other person doesn't like. That's life. That's how it works. But how you heal and forgive is if both people are willing to have an honest conversation and to acknowledge each other's pain. Is to acknowledge it. Yes, I didn't know I did that to you. I'm sorry. That's how you continue to grow in marriage. Are we able to apologize? Are we able to see the other person's point? Are we able to apologize? Are we able to see the other person's point? Are we able to move past these issues or not? Right? You're 26, you want marriage one day, but you don't want any kids, like ever. I think Sana, if you don't want children, maybe you want to be looking for a brother that is maybe divorced, already has children, and his wife has the children, or you just want to be honest in the courting phase. You got to be real honest. A lot of times we lie in the courting phase too, y'all, and I always say don't lie. Don't lie about who you are or what you want, because the truth will always come to light and then will cause problems in marriage. So be honest. I don't want children. I've never had a desire, and that's okay. Not all women want children, seriously. And if that brother can decide, yes, I want to be with you, or no. Right? But I would never lie and be like, yeah, maybe one day I'll be convinced, if that's not what I want. Right? Because then he'll end up not happy and you'll be not happy. Right? Can I give you some tips on how to become self-obsessed? I love that. I love that word. And have high self-love and worth. That's a good question. I think the first thing I tell women is to really love and honor yourself. I want you to start listening to how you speak to yourself. That's the first thing. I want you to start being present with yourself, Maria. I want you to start hearing how you talk to yourself. Are the words you're saying to yourself in your head, your thoughts about yourself, are they loving? Are they kind? Are they empowering? Do they make you feel good? Do they make you feel valuable? Do they make you feel special? Or are you saying mean things to yourself? Are you berating yourself? Are you being unkind to yourself? That's the first thing. Hear your thoughts about yourself. Because what you're saying to yourself is affecting your self-worth. The other thing is you want to start doing things that make you feel really good about yourself. Whether it's, getting an education, whether it's getting a job that you really enjoy, whether it's, you got to start doing things that make you feel good, about yourself, right? If you're living a life and you're doing things every day that don't make you feel good about yourself, you're not going to have a healthy sense of self-worth and value. Taking good care of yourself, whether that's eating well, whether that's caring about how you dress every day, whether that's, losing weight if you don't feel good in your body. Like, you want to feel good in your body. You want to feel good. When you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror, how do you feel about yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? How are you treating yourself? Right? Those are things that make you self-obsessed, right? I noticed today my daughter, it's funny how teens are very self-obsessed. She gets up an hour before school. She gets up before I get up to wake her up. So when I get up to get Issa up in the morning, I go to Amina's room first, and she's always up. I will literally open her door, and she's in there. She's a vanity desk with like her mirror. She's in there doing her hair, doing her skincare. She has a very specific skincare routine in the morning. She's doing her skincare. She's laying her clothes out. She's very self-obsessed. She's very focused on how she wants to feel She does volleyball. She did basketball last season. She loves volleyball. She loves basketball. She's very athletic, even though she's like a diva. But she's very like doing things in her life every day that make her feel amazing inside. And I used to be like, that's a 12-year-old really into skincare like that and has her own skincare fridge. But I realized, oh, this is how she treats herself well. She's treating herself well. She's doing things that make her feel good about herself. She's saying to herself as she's doing her skincare, oh, my skin is so amazing. Oh, I love this new treatment. Oh, look, and she'll come to me like, Mom, look. And she'll come and do, like yesterday, she came and did her volleyball. They're 7 or 5-0. They're 5-0. They have a good team this year, and they need to win 2 more games to go to something, the next, whatever the next level is. And she was showing me her serves and what she does, and she was feeling so good about herself. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. You're really good. You're good at this volleyball thing, right? And I think a lot of times we do that as teenagers, and then as we get older, we forget. We forget how to take care of ourselves, right? You got to take amazing care of yourself. What do you need to do in your life every day that would make you feel really good and really grounded and really peaceful and really happy? That's how you develop it. Yeah, this girl, Maria, the thing I love about having kids, especially a girl kid, is I see the way women naturally come into the world through my daughter. I call little girls little divas. They come into the world wanting to take amazing care of themselves, believing that they're amazing, believing they're beautiful, believing they're special, believing they should be adored. And then somebody changes them, whether it's their parents, usually it's parents, bullies at school, the girls at school. Somebody changes who you naturally are. Because my daughter is naturally self-obsessed. She's naturally self-obsessed. Even when she was little, it was like, Mom, I need these shoes to go with this dress, and I like this is perfect, and I'm just like, that's the way we naturally came into the world. We came into the world full of self-love and self-worth. We got to get back to that, right? Whatever that was, we got to recreate that. If you notice little girls are all little divas. They're all like that. That's the natural self. That's who you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be in love with yourself. And I tell women, and the reason why is because you've been created by the Most High God. You're a special, individualized, beautiful creation. That's why you need to be self-obsessed. Okay? How do you know if you're causing issues in your marriage? This is a good question. This is a really good question. Fatosh, you'll know. You will know if your insecurities or your emotional wounding or your unhealed childhood trauma, your unhealed stuff, you'll know. You'll feel it. You'll have an argument with your husband about something really stupid. And then I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to go away. I want you to sit in a quiet room. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to ask yourself that question. What's the real issue? Why am I really upset with him? What is this really about? How did it make me feel? And it'll help you get to the root of the issue. Because a lot of times in marriage, it's really about our childhood stuff that we haven't really processed. And then we're taking it out on our husband. Right? That's what it's really about. And we really got to start being honest with ourselves so that we can be honest with our husbands. Once you figure out, oh, this is really about, this made me feel the way my mom or dad made me feel. When you said that to me or when you did that, this made me feel the way my dad would make me feel. Okay, now let me go tell my husband that. Because he doesn't know what my childhood was like. So now let me go talk to him and tell him that when you did that thing you did, it made me feel like I was 7 or 10, and when my dad would say that or my dad would do that. Right? And I'm sorry I took that out on you. I'm sorry. This is what it was really about. And I'm working on this issue. And I know this issue. I know her very well. That's why I say everybody needs inner child work. We all do. I've done tons of it. I've done tons of it to show me the inside of me. Right? And I tell y'all, we marry our fathers. We all marry our fathers. The great things and the not so great things. So I already know when there's an issue in my marriage, I'm like, oh, that's about something my dad would do that would piss me off or make me feel bad or And now I got to go talk to my husband about it because he thinks it's him. It's not really. It's just my little inner child coming up that was triggered by that, right? And it's okay. And marriage also requires a lot of you have to get into out of your ego, because sometimes you're like, I don't want to tell him that that's what it was. Like, I don't want him to know that. I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to be that vulnerable. And you're gonna have to be real vulnerable. You're gonna have to be real vulnerable to have a healthy marriage. It requires an immense amount of vulnerability. Sometimes scary levels of vulnerability when you have to tell him those sort of things, right? Let's see. You wish you had insurance. Oh, you can pay out of pocket to see a counselor. And they're even, I want you to Google, who's Husna, I want you to Google, there's some therapists that offer sliding scale. So they charge you based upon what your income is. So you may want to Google to see if there are any therapists in your area that offer sliding scale cost for therapy. But therapy could start with it could start with simple things, with you journaling every day. Because really I think really what a lot of women are not doing is they're not feeling their feelings. And that's really what therapy helps you to do, is like go inside of yourself and feel your feelings. You could simply, every day, you could journal just to get into what your feelings are every day. You could sit in a quiet room with your eyes closed, hand over heart, asking yourself questions. How do I feel today? Why do I feel this way? When something happens at work, or something happens with a friend, or something happens with your spouse, and you don't understand it, you could just go to yourself and be like, why did that affect me so deeply? Why do I feel this way? It's really getting into your feelings. Your feelings are the truth of your behaviors. His feelings, the reason why we behave the way we do, men and women, is because of our feelings. And sometimes the feelings are so deeply rooted. They're like feelings from a long time ago. They're feelings from like childhood. They're feelings that we've never processed. And those feelings just want to be processed. That's how you heal. Sometimes you're going to have to cry about things that hurt from a long time ago because you never did. And the feelings are still in you, wanting to be expressed, wanting to be released, wanting to cry. That's why I tell women you should be crying all the time. Crying is a good thing. Crying means, something hurts. Something needs to come to the surface. Something needs to be expressed, right? You'd be surprised a lot of times in my coaching calls, they're just crying. They're just tears they've never, ever, ever felt inside of their body that need to be released. And bringing them to the surface and just letting them out changes them. It's amazing how this works, right? Okay. Would I recommend talking to a guy who lives next to you? I don't think where he lives is really the issue. I think it's, do you see characteristics in him that you think would make him a good match to be your husband? And what are you looking for? And what do you need? And what do you want? And what are your standards? Does he meet those standards? Does he meet those characteristics? Does he meet those values that you're looking for? It doesn't matter where he lives. It's who he is. It's who he is and who you are, right? And are you healthy enough to make the right choice, right? Yeah, when you sit with your feelings. But I'll be honest, top one, processing feelings is not easy. You're gonna, I've processed a lot of feelings over the years, y'all, so many feelings. And I feel like I still process feelings. Still feelings come up from the past sometimes. And you will feel bad, but you need to release them. You need to release them. If sometimes you're sad for no reason, you're like, why am I sad? Like, things are well, I don't know. There's something inside of you that needs to be processed, and you have to process it. You want to sit with the feelings. You want to be honest with yourself about your feelings, because the feelings have to be expressed. If they stay in your body, and I'm starting to believe that feelings, unprocessed feelings, stay in your body, live in there for years and years and years, and then create physical damage to your body, create dis-ease, create other issues. So we don't want to have unhealed feelings in our bodies. We want to always be in our feelings. And as women, and I tell women this, everybody's all about the soft life and being more feminine and being in your femininity. Really what being in your femininity is really about is being in your feelings. It's feeling your feelings. It's processing your feelings. Women who are really in their masculine, really hardcore, achieving, going, doing, overproductive, always achieving, never give themselves space to feel their feelings. They don't even slow down. They're so numb. They don't slow down to even feel their feelings because the feelings are really hurtful. They don't want to go there. But you're going to have to go there. You're going to have to go there if you want to feel well. Okay? Wa alaikum assalam, everybody. Yes, prayer helps too. And I tell y'all, there's many a day I've cried in sujood. There's many a day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gotten me up for tahajjud prayer at like 2 a.m. because he wants to give me the space to cry to him. Y'all ever wake up at like 2, 3, or he wakes you up at like 1:30 in the morning, 2 in the morning, out the blue, and you're like, and then you're in sujood, and then you just cry like a little baby? I really feel like he's giving me the space to come to him and just cry about whatever it is that hurts. And that's okay too. Why do you think he created tears? Why do you think he created emotions? It's for a reason, right? Some women get married over and over to avoid feelings. It's true, y'all. So many women, and I meet them, and it blows my mind that there are a lot of women like this, but they're so numb. They're so numb inside. If I ask them, like, how do you feel? They can't even tell me. They will literally have just gotten married or been married recently, and I'm like, oh, how do you feel? Or they'll meet a guy, they'll meet a brother, and they're like in the courtship phase, and I'm like, how does it make you feel? And they're like, they can't even feel a feeling. Like, they don't even know. They go right to their head and they go make a list of all the things. Oh, he's this and he's that and he did it. And I'm like, but I didn't ask you that. I asked you, how does he make you feel? And they're like, oh, I guess good, I guess. I'm like, oh my God, we have some work to do. Girl, I live in my feelings. I live in the feelings, girl. I live in the feelings. I'm always in my feelings, right? My husband says, you're so sensitive. I'm like, yep. Very. And lovely. I love being a sensitive woman. I'm a very sensitive woman. That's the way God designed us. And that's what I say to him. That's the way I was designed. I was designed to be sensitive. It's my superpower. Being sensitive is my superpower because I can feel everything and anything. I can feel my children. I can literally feel my children are hurting, or my children need help, or my children. It's the superpower that he's given us as women. Is to be able to feel deeply. And if you're cut off from that because you're so numb, because you've been hurt and you're numb, how can you make choices based upon your feelings? How can you help your children in the ways they need to be helped? How can you grow your children if you're not connected to your feelings, right? Yeah. Oh, I don't care. I don't care what people think about me. I'm very sensitive and I love it. I love being sensitive. I'm very sensitive and it's all good. I feel it. I see it as something beautiful, not as something that's bad. Yeah. You gotta bring those tears up. You definitely want to bring those tears up to the surface because your crying is showing you something hurts inside of me still. Something hurts inside. And for me personally, I don't like carrying pain inside of me. It's almost like if somebody cut my leg, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm just gonna go through my day with a cut leg. It's hurting very deeply. I'm not gonna go to the hospital and get it wounded or get it mended. I'm just gonna be walking around all day with a cut leg. I'm just gonna deal with it. No, I'm gonna go get my leg mended. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to feel pain. I don't like physical. This is the thing about me. I don't like physical pain. I don't like emotional pain. I'm always trying to heal either one. Girl, when I had to get my root canal, it's been like 2 weeks, I got a new crown. And if y'all know me, I'm a baby. I cannot deal with pain. Even my tooth, hurting for like a couple of days was killing me. I was taking everything, maximum Tylenol, maximum like everything. I was like, I got to get this done, fixed ASAP. I don't like being in pain. I don't like it. I refuse it. I refuse to be in pain. I refuse to be in emotional pain. I refuse to be in physical pain. I refuse to be in spiritual pain. I refuse. Yeah. You're going to have to suffer. You're going to have to stop caring what people think about you. I have a right to my feelings. And that's how I feel about life. I have a right to feel the way I want to feel. Nobody can tell me how I can and cannot feel. No man, no child, no friend. I have a right to my feelings. And if you don't like the way I feel, then that's about your issues. That has nothing to do with me. I'm still gonna be in this feeling until I don't want to be in this feeling anymore. I'm gonna process this feeling. I'm gonna process it and get it out of my body so I can feel well later today, or I can feel well tomorrow. Right? Okay. Let's see. I think I'll be in one for another, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so. The counter will come up and show me when I have 5 minutes left. If you guys have questions about love, marriage, courtship, feeling your feelings, self-worth, self-love, I'm here. Let me know. I think that's all the questions, guys. Let's see. I'm just looking up to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Discernment, the most sensitive people in the world are very discerning. I can even feel people's energy. That's how sensitive I'm in. Someone could walk into my presence and I can feel that they're in pain. And I kind of think it's a gift given to me by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I can literally, someone can come into my presence and I can feel their emotions. I can feel it. That's how sensitive I am. And that's why I'm able to do the work I do, is coaching. I'm a coach because I feel people's feelings and I know how to help them process the feelings so they can move forward in life. I want to process them so we can move forward. We don't want to stay stuck in the feeling, because remember, your feelings create your behaviors. So if you're stuck in a feeling that you never processed, you're going to continue to behave in the same ways you've always behaved. And if you behave in the same ways you've always behaved, nothing changes in life for you. Nothing will change in your marriage. Nothing will change in your life. Nothing will change in your business. Nothing will change in your career, because you haven't changed your feelings. Your feelings are the same, which means your thoughts are the same, which means your behaviors are the same. So I'm shifting their thoughts first, their mindset, to shift their feelings. And then once I've shifted their thoughts and their feelings, what will blow your mind is everything around them shifts and changes, because now they're changing, right? Let's see. Any other questions, guys? Let's see. A brother you're getting to know is saying he expects you to do 50-50. Now, again, I say this all the time. You guys have to have standards. So for me personally, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in 50-50. Now, if my husband needs me to help him in some way, I believe in 50-50. Now, if my husband needs me to help him in some way, because I have helped my husband in marriage plenty of times and he needed financial help, I'm willing to do that as a charity. Whatever I do is an act of charity. But I don't believe that for the whole marriage it should be 50-50 and I should be paying 50% of the bills. And that's just me. If you're okay with that, then that would be okay. And that's a question for you. And I think women have to really be honest with themselves before they marry people. Can I live with that for the rest of my life? Would I be okay with that? Would that create resentment? Would that cause me to look at him differently? So if you need someone that provides, you have to be honest with them and say, listen, I don't believe in that. And even Islamically, I have a right to have my husband pay 100% for my food, clothing, and shelter. That's Islam. So you have a right to be like, no, that's not going to work for me. And you can even put that in your contract, that in this marriage, he will be 100% providing for my food, clothing, and shelter. You can put anything in your contract you want to. So yeah, I would definitely have a good conversation around that in the beginning so that there's no misunderstandings. Don't settle for things that you feel like are non-negotiables. Things can be flexible, but it depends on what it is. Okay? Yeah, me too. I would want someone that provides. Exactly. And I think that would eventually cause maybe resentment if you decided to marry him and then you're like, oh, this is not working out for me. I don't like this. It would cause resentment, right? Any other questions, guys? If not, I'm going to jump off. Because I have work to do in my business. I can go work. If you guys have questions or comments concerning marriage, courtship, self-love, self-worth, these are the topics that I love to talk about, as you guys know, watching my content. If you go watch all my content, I feel like I've covered a lot in my content as far as marriage. And I think you guys, if you would just go watch all my content, you'd have a lot of your questions answered. Is it okay to have hope to get back with your ex one day? It is okay to have hope if he is willing to change. halloumi. If you've seen things, if you guys can have an honest conversation about the things that were not working in your marriage, that you didn't like, that need to be changed, and he and you are willing to get some help, some coaching or counseling to work on those things, then yes, it's okay to want him back. But if you feel as though he's not going to change, or you're not going to change, because it's a two-sided thing, then I think you're going to have the same problems you had before, right? That caused you guys to break up, right? Growth in marriage honestly requires transformation on both sides. If there are challenges in the marriage and both people are not working to change themselves, nothing changes in the marriage. It's the same day over and over and over again. So if he's not willing to change, you're not willing to change, and I wouldn't get back with him. What are some things to include in the marriage contract, in my opinion? I think things around like where you want to live. Some people put that they don't want polygamy in their marriages, and you can put that you don't want a polygamous marriage. Things that you really feel like need to be outlined, so that if this person breaks those particular things in the contract, then that would break the marriage. So that's a personal thing. There are people that there are Muslim women that put their contracts online. I was like, wow. And you can Google and find Muslim women's marriage contracts online. They're very interesting to read. Some women's contracts are super long, because in their mind, they know exactly the standards they want to set in the marriage. Some are not so long. Some are just about like where they want to live, maybe how they want to raise their children. They don't want polygamy. It just depends. It depends on you. What do I think about age gap relationships? I'm in an age gap relationship, so I think they're okay, depending on the people. And depending on the maturity level, I think. Because, like, I'm 5 years older than my husband. But to be honest, I feel like he's way more mature. He was way more mature than I was when we got married. And I feel like he is way more mature and responsible than I am. So I think it depends on the maturity level of the two people involved. It can work. Like I always say this, like, if the foundation of the marriage is love and respect, you can work on anything. But if that's not the foundation, if there's no love and respect on either end, then it's really hard. It makes marriage harder. Would be too big of an age gap? For me personally, like, when I was 29 and I got married, I was looking for people that were maybe within a 5 to 6 year age range from me. But then there are sisters who marry brothers who are way older and they're happy in their marriages. So I don't really think it's age. I don't think the issue is age. I think it's the maturity level of the people. I think it's the character of the brother. I think, is he responsible? Is he stable, emotionally stable, financially stable? Like, to me, those are important things, not age, okay? How do I improve and have self-love after being emotionally neglected? You work on telling yourself every day that you love yourself. The past, and this is what I'm beginning to understand too, like, the past doesn't necessarily matter with who you want to be in the present. You get to decide who I want to be today. Who do I want to be today? How do I want to feel about myself today? I want to love and accept myself today. So that's what I decide every day. And I think I told you guys this before too. You can even program yourself subconsciously by writing, I love and accept myself on your bathroom mirror. I love and accept myself. Write it in a bright red lipstick color or something. So you're going to see it every day. It's going to pop into your mind as soon as you come into the bathroom every morning. Start pouring that over yourself. Start telling yourself every day, I love and accept myself. I love and accept myself, right? I'm a great creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm deserving of love and respect because I'm loved and respected by the creator of the universe. So if I'm loved and respected by the creator of the universe, why would I not give that to myself? Why would I not expect that in a man? I would expect to be treated with the highest level of respect and love because I get that from the creator every day, right? So these are things you want to be saying to yourself. You don't want to ever say negative things to yourself. You don't want to ever say limiting things to yourself. You want to be building yourself up every day, just a little bit. You want to be building yourself up every day. And let me see. I think that's my low counter, y'all. Let's see. Yeah, my counter is going to come up and tell me I have like 5 minutes. Yep. I have 5 minutes. So, let me do the puzzle. And I'll be on for 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to get off and get to work. Let's see. Where the brother is older, sometimes what I see with when the brother is like way older, like 18, 19, 20 years older, is that sometimes the sister is not mature enough to even know who she is or know what she wants or how to say no or how to set boundaries or how to put her foot down or how to make sure her needs are met. Sometimes she doesn't even, like, she's not mature enough to even do that, and he can control her. If she's not mature enough to be able to say no to what she doesn't want or yes to what she does want, or to tell him what she needs. That's what I find, not even age gap relationships. What I find in a lot of marriages is the women are not comfortable. They don't feel comfortable enough to be honest with men about what they need or what they want. That's the number one issue. That's the issue, right? So you have to be able to be honest with your partner. If you cannot be honest with your partner, don't get married. Don't get married. Let's see. Yeah, feeling lazy. I always tell people I'm the laziest woman on planet Earth. I don't really believe in being productive, overproductive, doing too much in a day. I don't believe in that. But I do believe in being active. So I like to eat too, girl. I love to eat. I love food. I love sweets. But I've noticed as I get older, I'm trying to cut back on some of them, and I'm being active. So like I try to walk 12 miles a week. I have a trail that's like 4 miles, a 4-mile trail by my house. So I do it like 3 times a week. So just being active, and I'm reducing eating sweets all the time and junk all the time has helped me to lose some weight. And I'm losing weight. I can see I'm losing weight just from that. So even just try to be active. If you're not going to eat super healthy every day, the issue is we're sitting. Most of us are sitting all day, and we're not moving our bodies, and our bodies are not designed for that. They're supposed to be moved. So just go for walks, go for trail walks. Try to get, your steps in, right? What is it? They say 10,000 steps a day. I definitely don't do 10,000 steps a day, because I tracked it on my iPhone. When I do a 4.4 mile hike, it's like 10,000 steps. And that hike takes me about 1 hour and 20 minutes to do. So try to get your 10,000 steps at least maybe 4 or 5 times a week at least. Do I recommend dating apps? It's hard for me to say, because I know people that have met their husbands on dating apps. So I can't say no. But then I also feel like on a dating app, it should be just the start to get to know someone. You shouldn't build your whole relationship around a dating app. Like maybe it's a start, and then y'all need to be in the courtship phase, really interacting, spending time with each other, getting to know his family, him getting to know your family. Like, I don't know, dating apps, you can present whatever you want to present. You can lie. You cannot be your true self. So I don't know. That's tough. When I was getting married, we didn't have dating apps, so I never used a dating app. So that's a tough call. And I'm getting ready to leave, guys, in like a minute or so. Yeah, you definitely need a support system, and you definitely need to make sure that that brother is meeting your family, your wali, your dad, so that he knows that you have a support system in place that will not tolerate you being mistreated in any way, right? Your father, your wali needs to be having these conversations with him before you guys even continue in the courtship. And it should be early. It should be early in the courtship phase. Okay. Yeah, I got married in 30 days, so I think it's more so about looking for the type of person, the character he is, right? Hey, sis, love you too. Love you. I got to go I'm actually getting off right now, guys. So I will post this on my YouTube channel, and I'll post it here on TikTok, the recording. And you guys watch all my content. I cover a lot. I feel like I've covered so much in my content. Watch my content. And inshallah, I'll be back to see you guys the next time I'm inspired. My salams.